apologies about that. Anyway, as I was saying, in the ancient Greek, Vulcan was called Hephaestus, and he was the god of the same. He was god of blacksmithing and metalwork. Let us go a bit further down. Yeah, his legendary association with the god was received from the earlier Greeks. Many Roman gods are direct equivalents to Greek gods, and we're going to be talking about that in other videos. I don't want to go too much into that, but essentially a lot of the Greek pantheon, meaning the Greek gods, came from Egypt, and obviously from Egypt they obviously went to Greece, and then went to Greece they went to Rome, and in Rome we get the Catholic Church. Obviously has its foundation in Rome. But I will be making some videos regarding who the original Greeks were. Obviously I had this series earlier. Obviously the Greeks were well, some of the Greeks were intermixed with some of the scattered of Israel, of the 12 tribes, but I want to be talking more about where they came from and so on. Anyway, as I was saying, many Roman gods are direct equivalents to Greek gods, often given different names but representing the same general history. For example, the Roman Jupiter is Greek Zeus. With the same attributes, their respective fathers are the Roman Saturn and Greek Kronos, and we're going to be going into who Saturn and Kronos are as well as their depictions in, pop culture. The Romans adopted Greek gods and legends in the same way that they adopted the Greek alphabet. Perfect. The Greeks also considered this island to be the foundry of their god of fire, volcanoes, and patron god of blacksmiths and metalworking, a deity they named Hephaestus, which I just said. His symbols were the hammer and the anvil. The hammer also is a symbol, I believe, of, is it the god Thor? I believe so. You see, all these gods, all these different cultures that have all these quote-unquote mythological figures, obviously in Greek it's called the Greek pantheon. They all have their beginning, their genesis in the same gods, or the same antediluvian or post-diluvian, meaning before the flood or after the flood, figures. Hephaestus, was one of the mighty sons of the famously polygamous, meaning he had multiple wives. Greek god Zeus, in like form, the Roman Vulcan was a son of their Zeus equivalent Jupiter. References to this Greek Hephaestus go back to at least as early as Homer's Iliad, around 800 BCE. Let's go a bit down here. Clearly, the deities Vulcan and Hephaestus are a continuation of the same core legend. The exact meaning of the name Hephaestus is still debatable, but the Roman adopted name can be traced earlier, much earlier. Philologist Gerard Capdeville of the University Paris Sorbonne noted the name of the Roman god Vulcan as a continuation of the deity worshipped on the Greek island of Crete by the 2nd millennium Minoans. Minoans again were another quote-unquote ancient Greek civilization. This deity was named Vulcanus, the master of fire, and there is also a similarly named Etruscan deity, Vulcans. So obviously we can see here all the names are similar. The Etruscans, I believe, were settled in the land of Italy around about where Tuscany is. They were some of the people there before the Greeks got there, and I want to make a video about that as well, because the legend, I believe, in the Odyssey, or is it not the Iliad, or about Aeneas, spelled Aeneas, this is in either Greek or Roman mythology. I believe in both, but I believe it's Greek mythology, because obviously Aeneas appears in the Iliad, which was written by Homer, which is Greek mythology, but he's only in it briefly. Just a bit of backstory. The Greeks defeated the Trojans, and the Troy of the Iliad, meaning the Troy, obviously the Troy of ancient Greece, was in somewhere near Turkey. And what happened was, when the city of Troy was destroyed, Aeneas, the legend states anyway, Aeneas basically sailed from Troy and settled in modern day Italy by somewhere called the river Tiber, or Tiber, which is where the city of Rome is today. So essentially, that's where the Greek culture transferred itself to Rome and became the Roman culture. Obviously, as it's just stated, and as probably some of you watching already know, the Roman gods and the Greek gods, but essentially the same. But that's a little backstory, and I do want to be making a series about that and how that relates to the Bible as well. Anyway, I digress. And from here we can turn to another early source that traces just such a deity to a core individual on the scene thousands of years earlier, the Bible. In the beginning. Okay. So this is how it relates to the Bible. Genesis 4:6 gives us a summary. Genesis 4-6 give us a summary of the antediluvian world condition prior to Noah's flood. While the genealogies here are very human, they remarkably parallel later deified figures found among the Greeks and Romans. To the ancient Greeks, a goddess named Gaia, meaning earth or life, was considered the mother of all living. Gaia, of course, immediately comes across as an Eve type. And even the name is similar to a variant of the Hebrew name Eve, Chaya, I believe, meaning life, and pronounced similarly. So as you can see, all the well, I'm not going to say all, but a lot of the mythological figures from Greece or Egypt or Rome or wherever, or Babylon, they all tend to relate to figures that lived. Biblical figures that lived either before or after the flood. And we're getting some of the etymology here, and I'm going to be going into it in other videos. Gaia's child Kronos was the Greek patron of the harvest, and symbolized by the sickle grain. The biblical Eve's son Cain was likewise known specifically as a tiller of the ground, a crop farmer.